Hey guys, Mr. Pokke here again, back with another video. So for today's topic, we'll be talking about attack percentage and damage percentage and how they really function in this game. So I've been getting a lot of opinions and feedbacks and thoughts where attack percentage is not really a great stat in this game because of this thing called diminishing returns, where essentially the more you stack on something, the less effective it gets. While they are not exactly wrong in this, I wouldn't say that they are 100% right. The correct term to describe this phenomenon is more like opportunity cost. And you guys will come to realize that this opportunity cost, it doesn't just affect attack percentage, it also can affect your damage percentage as well. So having too much of either of these things are not good for your total DPS. As you guys will quickly come to realize this after taking a look at the Excel that I've presented today. What do I mean by opportunity cost? Right. So to understand how this whole thing works first, you need to first get two things. The formula for attack as well as the damage formula overall. Right. So the formula attack is very simple. It's just the character's base attack plus your Litecoin's base attack multiplied by your attack percentage buffs and your flat attack, which is from your gears and subsets or whatnot. So a very simple example, if your character base plus Litecoin is 1000, your attack buff is at 50%, you multiply by 1.5, and you plus 300 raw attack from like your gears and your substats, and then you'll get a attack total of 1800. So that is how you find attack in this game. So all attack percentage buffs, they are all based on your base values. They are not stacking on top of each other, they are all based on your base values. So that's why you need to get that right first. So other than that, how outgoing damage works, which is actually your final damage, is essentially your base damage, which is triggered by your skill multiplier multiplied by attack, multiplied by your damage multiplier. All the things behind, which is defense, rest, damage taken, all these, you don't really need to care because they change between enemies and it will not be factored into our calculations for today. All you need to know is base damage and damage percent multiplier. So, how does this work? Right. The example that I decided to use today is taken from Jing, his old and new trace upgrades, because I actually got this comment from somebody. He's like, how is a 28% attack trace a nerf as compared to his 14.4% old lightning trace? It's almost like a double value in terms of attack. So how can it be a nerf, right? So I hope that after this video, everybody will understand how the damage formula works, and you can see how attack percentage and damage percentage really changes a character's DPS, right? So first things first, Jing, his character himself and his Litecoin, they are both at level 80. You will gain a total base attack of 1280, right? Then you add on 2 attack percentage mains, which are from your rope and your boots. So this adds up to 86%. And then this is, let's just assume you have 5 lines of attack percentage subs. This is where I throw in the 20% from Trace, and then I kept the 20% from his lightning damage, so that it's easier to see the differences, right? But just know that this is 5 lines of attack percentage subs, this is the base. So if he has the 20% attack trace, I just add on another 20%. And then you keep it as 20% for the old trace. Right? For the flat attack, you only get 1, which is from the hands. Let's just say you get 352, so it's 352 across the board. And I'm assuming you don't get any other flat attack from any other relic substats. Then you need to consider the buffs that Jing is getting, because you need to know that in Honkai Star Rail, there are a lot of supports that provide attack percentage buffs. So I'm just taking some the most common ones that you'll be probably running with Jing, such as the flat attack buff from Tingyun's E, which is 700. I'm just going to assume it's 700, as well as the attack percentage buff from 3 stacks of Asta's passive. So it's going to be at 45%. So these two are the same throughout the board. Now, when it comes to damage percentage multiplier, this will be essentially his lightning op, which is the Sasotto lightning op. You guys also, since we're on this topic, right, you should know that damage multiplier, this actually includes all sources of damage multiplier, not just elemental damage. So you know that buff that, for example, the buff that Bronya does, her E buff, it's also classified under damage percentage multiplier. Or Tingyun's ultimate, which also buffs damage percentage, right? It's also under the same multiplier. So all these things, you need to add them together. But I'm just going to assume that Jing only has this lightning op, and this is the only source of attack damage percentage multiplier. And you can see that for the base, it's going to be at 38.8, and then you plus 14.4 from his old trace, which is going to be 53.2. Now, you can first take a look at his total attack. Obviously, the one with 28% new trace is going to have a higher total attack than the old trace, right? So this is a no-brainer. But how does this translate into our actual damage output So you'll take a look over here. We need to consider the multiplier on the Jing Yuan skills, which are 110% for his skill, 216% on his ultimate, and 700% on his lightning lot that at max stacks. This is all at maximum level, right? So with this in mind, we can now find out what is the actual damage that it does. So the formula for damage is pretty straightforward. You essentially just take your total attack, multiply it by your multiplier. So this will give you your base damage. And then you multiply by your damage percentage multiplier. So in this case, our only damage percentage multiplier right now is going to be lightning op at 38.8%. So on baseline values, not comparing between the two traces, his skill is gonna do this much, his ultimate is gonna do this much, and his lightning lot is gonna do this much. Now we compare how attack percentage fares against elemental percentage damage, right? So with 28% attack, you can see that the damage for this is around 7,000, 13,000, and 45,000 for these three skills. But with 14.4% lightning, without the 28%, you'll realize that his skills actually do more damage than attack. Now, why is this the case? This is where it comes when I'm talking about. This is where opportunity cost comes in. It is not essential. It's not really diminishing returns per se, because this is more like finding the right balance. It's not like stacking too much of something is gonna give you less of something. I mean, technically that is true, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is there is too much focus on attack generally because of how the game works. We have too much attack source as compared to damage percentage source. So to make it like really straightforward to understand, right? I think everybody can understand once you take a look at this dumb version. So we can imagine that this is your damage percentage and this is your attack percentage, right? They both add up to be 4.5, right? 3 plus 1.5 is the same as 2.25 plus 2.25. Now, as you all can see here, the one with too much of something is gonna give you a less value compared to one with a roughly equal amount of something. This could have been your damage or could have been an attack. Like, if your attack is at 3 and your damage is at 1.5, the same thing is gonna happen. It's not say that attack is always worse than damage, because there can be scenarios where you can have too much damage percentage and it will result in you having less output compared to something that has a balanced output. This is how opportunity cost works, and it is not only restricted to attack. The same thing happens to damage as well. And one excellent example I will give to demonstrate my point on why too much damage percentage can be a thing, right? Is our favorite character, Sile. If you take a look at her traces, right, it also increases the damage of her attack by 65%. This is classified under damage percentage. So for Sile, right, she also has a ton of innate damage percentage buffs on her own. So there can be situations where stacking too much damage percentage on Sile might ironically be a worse idea as compared to stacking attack. And not to mention, it is not like this game doesn't have any a lack of a damage percentage buffs as compared to attack. So if you take a look at Bronya, right, her skill, she buffs damage percentage, and Tingyun's ultimate also buffs damage percentage. So these are just some of the scenarios where if you stack too much damage percentage on something, you can also end up having a less optimal damage output as compared to overstacking on attack. Alright, so quick edit. This is the scenario where I can show you guys that in the event where attack can actually be better than damage percentage, right? So all I've done is taken the liberty of adding Bronya's skill, which essentially adds on another 53% damage to your damage percentage multiplier, which is this one. So Bronya's skill added 53%. So now you have a 91.8% in terms of a damage percentage and a 106% in terms of your old trace, right? So in this scenario, when you throw on Bronya's huge 53% damage multiplier increase, you can see that attack actually has more value now than your 14.4% lightning damage. And this is because now we have way too much damage percentage as compared to our previous old attack percentage buff. We are having too much of something. This is perfectly sums up why it is not just attack that suffers this issue. If you stack too much of anything, like even for damage percentage, if you stack too much of it, you will realize that the other side will become better in terms of final damage output. And I think the easiest way to just prove this is always refer to this. Always compare between, do you want too much of something multiplied by too little of something, or do you want an equal amount of something multiplied by an equal amount of something? You will always come to find that the one where you multiply both numbers that are equal will give you a higher value than something that too much of something multiplied by too little something provides. So yeah, I hope this video sums up the whole damage percentage versus attack percentage thing. TLDR, you shouldn't stack too much attack percentage, that is correct, because right now in the game, we honestly have way more attack percentage buffs than damage percentage buffs. But in the future, for more units, or even for units that has already a lot of innate damage percentage, such as Sile, she has a lot of damage percentage to herself, then if under these scenarios, right, it is actually okay to stack on attack percentage because your DPS will actually be higher than when you stack on too much damage percentage. So that's all I wanted to get across, and I'll catch you guys next time.